I have another very exciting guest. Susan Hensley is with us today. She has this great book. It's called Art for Your Sanity. It is the cutest little book. I love it to pieces. And as someone who's new to journaling, I want to talk to you because I really, I've gone through therapy. I talk to people, and I've always heard write something down, and you don't have to give it to someone, but write it down, get it down on paper, burn it in the backyard, keep it forever, whatever you want. I never really believed it. And then I did it. And it was a game changer because I swear, ever since I put those words on paper, I never think about that issue anymore or how that person hurt me. And it was just, I mean, my whole world opened up. So I think it's so important that we talk about journaling and art and expressing ourselves.
Well, I love that you've had that experience, and thank you for sharing it because I've been in a similar situation. I've done the therapy, I've done the written journaling, and I've always found the power of the written journaling because once you get that noise in your head somewhere else, it really frees it up and those thoughts can settle. What's so interesting about art journaling, because I was a journaler and believed in it, is art journaling is almost next level because it taps over into that right side of our brain where we don't always have words. It's a much more holistic sort of creative space. Most of the time, in our culture, it's lists, it's time, it's
Mhm.
what are we doing? And we are busy, busy, busy. And you're just, people say all the time, I'm running from thing to thing, which is great. And there's a place for that. And many of us have built successful lives based on that and juggling families. But that's constantly using that left side of that brain, that linear, logical, judgmental side. And that's sort of that side where sometimes that mean voice comes from. When we use art. And this is once again not about showing anyone. I love the way you described the written journaling. Yes, you can burn it, you can tear it up, you can keep it under lock and key. It's not for anyone but you. The same with art journaling. It's just visual and you're using color. And in many ways, that taps very quickly into our inner wisdom and helps us express and work through emotions even faster than when we're looking sort of for the right words, if you will.
It's so interesting. I feel like, and I maybe this is what kept me from journaling in the first place. I feel like, oh, I'm not that good with words. It's not gonna. It's always the self-deprecating side of you, and I think it's the same for me with the art journaling. Oh, I'm not a good drawer. I'm not good. Blah, blah, blah. But you got to let go of all that. It doesn't have to be, I don't know what, Picasso. It's just you. Why is it so hard to let go of that?
Somewhere early in our lives, and I spend a lot of time in the book and in my online course and workshops trying to remember not the moment you were told you weren't good at art, but the moments before when you were just loving creating for the sake of creating. Almost every kid has had an experience, whether it's with finger paints, with crayons, with a glue stick, or, white
Mhm.
pasty glue, where they were just having fun. And it's about the process, not the end. That's the real key here. And when I'm, like I said, working with groups and in the book, it's getting back to that stage. And it's why I recommend so strongly using what you loved to do as a kid before the moment that either you told yourself or someone else, laughed at your horse and said it didn't look like a horse, right?
Yep.
Whatever it
Mhm.
is, we all have those moments. You want to go back to where you loved creating because then you're doing it for the joy of doing it and not the end result. I mean, in a million years, I didn't think I would write a book other than it just became such a powerful tool. And in my experience as a coach and HR executive, when I find a really great, easy tool, I want to share it. But
Mhm.
I put my own art journaling pictures in it and you have the book there to show how low the bar is. It isn't about a picture you would ever show anyone, right? I mean, you see smiley faces, hearts, teardrops, little screaming circle faces. It's not about the end result. It's about that play process. And that's what's so important, is to get pre that mean voice in our heads.
Mhm. And it's about mindfulness because I feel like sometimes when I'm at work, I'll just start doodling. I like drawing hearts. That's what I draw, hearts. I'm very good at hearts. And now with speaking with you, I really want to pay attention to what is going through my head when I start doing that. Because now I'm curious, like what is prompting me in my head to just start doodling the hearts?
Yeah. So, Kiki, I love the fact that you said hearts, because that is my go to.
Oh.
I have filled pages and pages of my art journal with hearts. I thought, am I the only one? And it is the curiosity, the asking yourself is exactly one of the three aspects I say people should bring to this, right? If you want to try this, and it's just for you, you want to bring that sense of sort of play, draw what feels good, right? Then be curious about, how do I feel after I do this or while I'm doing it, right? It could be any number of things, and it could be different things, different days,
Mhm.
right? And then have some self-compassion, right? You're really trying to quiet that person who says, oh my gosh, I've just filled 5 pages with hearts. What am I thinking? That's so silly, right? That voice
Mhm.
isn't there. It's the self-compassion of, wow, look what the heck I have created. I am so proud of myself for filling 5 pages with colored hearts, right? It's that flip and being like your own, like really, I call it proud parent, proud teacher. So those are the three components: playfulness, curiosity, and then just some self-compassion.
Mhm. Yeah, and, I started another journal. I call it Hobby Lobby Friday. So every Friday, I go to Hobby Lobby and I get something else, and, so this week, I actually got one of those, photo printers, the little tiny ones,
Oh,
and recently, I was in San Diego, and it was so funny. My friend, we were together and we kept taking pictures of trees because there's beautiful trees and flowers. So I have this picture of a tree that I printed out.
fantastic.
Yeah, and I bought the fancy scissors. So I'm going to put like a journal entry of the picture of the tree and how it made me feel, and just go from there and just let the words come out. I think sometimes, and I don't know if I'm the only one, I think sometimes, I have this idea in my head, I'm gonna do it, but you kinda think, "Well, it's silly. Why am I writing in a book? What's it all about? Somebody's gonna find it someday and blah, blah, blah. Your kids are gonna find it, or maybe not. Maybe they'll just throw it out and they'll be like, oh, what is this? Nothing." Um, but I think we gotta get past that. I think by talking about it more, and I'm all about talking about things so you don't feel alone. That's like my motto in life. Um, we help each other. We help each other. You got to express yourself, right?
Oh, absolutely. And if we don't share, we think we're alone. We
Mhm,
tell ourselves that story that we are, whatever it is, broken, the only ones. And I love the fact that you recognize it is just getting over that hurdle, because the more times you do it, the more time you print out that beautiful picture of the tree, you paste it in, you write about it, the easier it becomes. Like
mhm.
nothing happens. That's what I'm always amazed about, is I can create all these fears in my mind. What happens, what happens, what happens, right? And then you start doing it and absolutely nothing happens. You recognize the world is not hanging on
Right.
your every breath and every thought, and you feel more connected. Like I love the fact that you shared that. You were drawn to trees. And what does that mean, right? Because trees symbolize growth, regenerate. I mean, so many things. And it's also individual.
Mhm.
And just getting over that hurdle and giving yourself permission to, I call it play, or once again, explore. I even suggest you set a timer 5, 10 minutes, because once again, anything done for 5 or 10 minutes is not a big commitment.
Mm-mm.
Same with using relatively inexpensive materials so that that helps you get out of your head. It's like, I'm going to play for 5 minutes. I'm going to see how this feels to paste this tree into my journal and write about it.
Where do you think all of these what ifs come from? Is it a generational thing? Is it just a life thing? Where do we get these always dreading, well, what if this doesn't work? What if that doesn't work? In your opinion, where do you think we get this from?
I think it's being human. What I have read as I've tried to understand it and research it is, as humans were evolving, there was a negativity bias because it kept us safe. It kept us alive. So we were constantly scanning for danger,
Mhm,
over thousands and thousands of years. Now that we live in a place where we're not being attacked by
mhm,
lions and we have plenty of food, we still are always looking for being separated, if you will, from our tribe, for feeling outcast, for feeling ashamed. I think there's just a real human fear because it's hard for us to survive, without others, of somehow being attacked. So in our modern life, in the research I've done in my own experience, the more we can just be aware of that, that's mindful, and then choose to perhaps just ask the question, is there another viewpoint? Right? Is
mhm,
there some other way to look at this? You don't have to talk yourself out of the feeling, but I think just recognizing, like, what if I drove for 5 minutes? What would really happen? I think you can ask yourself those questions.
mhm,
But, long rambling answer, I think it's just part of being human, quite
mhm.
honestly.
I love talking to you. I want to have you on again if that's okay.
Oh, I would love that. This has been terrific.
Oh, good, good. The book is called Art for Your Sanity by Susan Hensley. Where can people go for more information on the book?
Easiest place is my website at susan-hensley.com. I have a free PDF you can download if you want to get started. You could also buy the book. You can find out about my course. So that's the best place. It's just susan-hensley.com.
Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me. It was terrific.